Hello again, and welcome to another edition of the Music Matters podcast. This would be number 2, and apologies for the professional sounding of these. We don't have the greatest setup quite yet. I think once we are able to get our each individual... We're sharing a microphone, by the way. I thought we'd throw this out there so if people were wondering, why does it kind of sound like they're in a tin can? Well, that's why. We're sharing a microphone.
Yeah.
And it's working. It sounds okay.
Good.
But it could be better.
Oh, well.
And someday we will get it better. But for now, we're going to do it like this and just have fun with it.
Well, your 2 bags of cans, your aluminum cans,
Yep.
will help.
Yep.
After this podcast, we should probably run those to Walmart. So
Well, you could just put your listening device into a can, and that'll correct the sound.
Oh, wonderful idea.
Yes. See?
Wonderful idea. I like that.
New way to think about it.
Okay.
All right. Now today we've got we're just gonna kind of riff, I think.
Yeah.
Pretty much is the way we've talked about it, and talk about the way music matters to us.
Yeah.
A little bit for the first part, and then we're gonna talk about some statistics a little bit later as well. So you got some pretty cool stuff on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start?
Well, I don't know. What was your idea?
We were talking about like top 5 songs that influenced you, or like are special to you, songs that you like, your favorite songs. Start there, I guess. All right.
Are you more into songs or albums?
I'm both. I like it all. I could go albums or I could go songs.
Okay. Okay. Well, then you can go first.
All right. Let's see. Are we going top 5, or what are we doing?
Yeah, let's go with 5.
Top 5.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, in no particular order.
Yeah.
Because they're all kind of special in one way or the other to me.
Mm-hmm.
But we talked about the first one on the first podcast a little bit, and that was the song "Rock and Roll All Night" by Kiss. Easily the song that got me into music. I heard that song and I was hooked. From that moment on, I wanted to know everything about Kiss, and music like Kiss. I was down for the rock and roll, and I have been my entire life since. So, I love rock and roll. Always holds a huge, huge place in my heart for that. I saw Kiss 9 times, I want to say, over the years. The first time I saw them was their reunion tour in 97?
Oh, okay.
98? I don't remember when that yet. Hazy, I did have a drinking problem back then. So hazy on the year.
Yeah.
It was college years, and I don't really remember which one was which.
Right.
But I was there, and I do remember that.
Right.
But anyway, so I saw them on that tour, and that was like the culmination of everything, because I actually finally got to see the guys that I saw on TV and, Kiss Meets the Phantom live and in person. And on that day, I clearly remember talking to all the people that I went with. I could die happy now. Just to be able to say I saw Kiss. And then I saw them 8 other times on top of that. And every single time they put on the biggest show the world has ever seen. Like, that is one thing I gotta give Kiss credit for. Their shows there's nothing else like them. Really, they are the innovators of showmanship as far as a rock show goes. If you are going to go to a show and Kiss is there, you better bring your game, because nobody's going to remember you. They're going to remember Kiss and their show and all the shit that they did on their show. Like all the fireworks, the blood spitting, the flying. I mean, they did it all. And they were just amazing. And if you got to see them,
Well, I saw them twice. I saw them acoustically up in Sioux Falls.
I was so jealous of you for that.
Yeah.
I wanted to go to that show.
And then we saw them a few years later in full makeup here in Sioux City.
Yep,
And
I was at that show. We
Yeah,
we worked together at that show.
oh, we were?
Yeah, we
Oh,
got a
great.
picture of because we each brought
Oh,
our
that's
kid.
right. That's right.
So
We brought the boys with us.
Yep,
Yeah, that's
and
right.
they got
You were
to
there.
that was my favorite, I think, experience about that show is just being able to share Kiss with my son. I mean that.
Yeah. Now, you know that I'm not a big Kiss fan.
Right.
I
No.
don't hate Kiss.
Right.
I appreciate Kiss for
What they are.
what they are.
Yeah.
The movie that they did is probably
Oh, it's god-awful.
It's one of the best movies of all time. No, I don't. We were talking in the first episode about like, love, hate. You know, if you don't check it out, if you don't know, if you don't experience it. I've been a drummer. I've played along to lots of Kiss songs. There are several Kiss songs that I like, a couple that I love. Going to those Kiss shows, I think, was about the dream of my youngest son, who, along with you, is a big Kiss fan. That's what that was about. It was really about making that memory.
Yeah.
And neither performance sucked in my eyes.
Yeah.
They're not a band that
I once took
Yeah.
a girlfriend at the time, not my wife, to a Kiss show, and she hated Kiss. Like, she thought they were just the worst band in the world, and she was all the way up. Why are you dragging me to this stupid Kiss concert? I'm gonna hate it. Why? Why am I going with this? You could have taken somebody who gives a damn.
Right.
By the end of that show, she was on top of my shoulders, flashing Gene Simmons.
Yeah.
And
back in
having
the
the
day.
time of her life.
Yeah.
And I knew that would happen. And I didn't know about the flashing, but she was a little crazy at the time. So, well, I'm sure she still is. I don't know. I haven't talked to her in a long time. But yeah, it was a crazy time and good fun.
Yeah. Well, again, there's the point of our podcast.
Yeah,
That's the point of this podcast.
right.
Is open your eyes, be willing, be open, because you might just discover the next big thing that excites your life.
Yeah,
Musically.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So that was my number 5.
So, okay.
What's yours?
My number 5 song, Amazing Grace.
Okay.
Amazing Grace.
Yeah.
It's a song that means a lot to me.
Totally understand.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up in the church,
Yeah.
that song, that's one of my favorite songs that you'd hear in church.
Uh-huh.
It ranks right up there. Like,
Yeah.
that's a great song.
Oh, yeah, Amazing Grace is just, it's a beautiful song musically, lyrically. I mean, it's deeper than deep. It
For sure.
stirs a lot of emotions.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
All
my
right.
number 5.
All right. Let's see. Number 4. I gotta put Ozzy Osbourne on the chart, or in the top 5. And I think with my favorite song from Ozzy, I've always kind of identified with this song, Road to Nowhere.
Road to Nowhere.
I love Road to Nowhere. The guitar solo in that from Zakk Wylde is one of my all-time favorites. Always just kind of identified with that song. The Road to Nowhere leads to me. It's pretty much been my life.
Yeah.
But in a good way too, I guess. So, it's I've always identified with that song. I've always loved that song. And God, I've seen Ozzy. I've actually talked to him in person. So yeah, Ozzy's always been in my musical life since I was a teenager. I remember getting my first Ozzy album, and it was Bark at the Moon. And the cover of that album, him like as a werewolf type looking dude, I don't know. I was like, this is some crazy stuff. My dad's gonna hate it. I'm gonna blast this.
Right.
So yeah, that I would say that number 4 would be Road to Nowhere.
Patsy Cline, Walking After Midnight.
Okay. Now, that's a song I do not know
Yeah.
off the top of my head.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I might recognize it if I heard it,
Uh-huh.
but I just don't know it.
Well, you will, because I
Yeah.
know you're going to check it out.
Yep, now I'll go check it out.
Okay.
I do know who Patsy Cline is.
Yeah.
And I do have mad respect for her as an artist. She's like one of the pioneers of country music. So
Yeah, I think, that's one of my favorites just because it is one that, is played around the house often.
okay,
But she had the voice of an angel. I hum it quite often.
yeah,
Yeah,
nice,
yeah.
right on. Let's see, whose turn is it?
It's yours.
Is it mine?
Yeah, pay attention.
All right, number 3, right?
Right.
All right. Number 3. Man. Pink Floyd's Comfortably Numb. Always been a fan. When I got to see Roger Waters perform The Wall live in Omaha, and that was on his tour for The Wall, which they did the entire stage setup and production that they did back in the 80s, where they only did it a couple times. Phenomenal. I mean, it wasn't David Gilmour playing, unfortunately, but it was still one of the best concert experiences I can remember. So I really, really have always loved that song. It's always kind of been, being a person who likes the Devil's Lettuce, I appreciate Comfortably Numb.
Yeah, I mean, there's... I'm not... Oh, this is blasphemous, I know. Are the doors locked so no one breaks in and lynches me? I am not a big Pink Floyd fan, but I am a huge, huge, huge David Gilmour fan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can understand that.
That makes sense?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I don't need to hear the whole Pink Floyd song. I just
Give me the
fast-forward to
David Gilmour solo. Yeah.
Yeah, because those, I think, in any Pink Floyd song, that's the part that really grabs you.
For sure.
There is lyrical depth, but
Yes.
but it's when that ripping solo comes on that you pay attention to every Pink Floyd song.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. His guitar work is second to none. He's way up there in the best guitarists of all time. You gotta keep him in that top 5
sure. Absolutely.
percentage right there.
Absolutely.
All right.
My number 3, well, let's see. I think it would be Jamie's Crying by Van Halen.
All right.
Yeah.
Why Jamie's Crying?
Well, I just remember discovering Van Halen, and that just, I think, being the first song that grabbed me. I mean, I'd already heard You Really Got Me and stuff, but it's yeah, it was just a vibe to that song. You just crank it up and drive away.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that song.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a huge I have always been a Van Halen fan. And it doesn't matter if it's Sammy Hagar, it doesn't matter if it's Gary Cherone or David Lee Roth. I just really love Van Halen. You give me Eddie Van Halen playing anything and I will listen.
Yeah, sadly he's not playing anymore.
I know.
Yeah.
It's such a
weird world without Eddie Van Halen. Absolutely.
I remember the day he passed and I had to be on the radio to announce that. And I literally could not make it through it. That was the one and only time that I've announced a death. And I've announced a lot of deaths on the radio. But that one, I couldn't make it through it. Mm-hmm. It just hit too hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Still miss him today. Mm-hmm. Very much so. Every day. I love Van Halen. I will listen to them almost every day. Mm-hmm. At least one song. Mm-hmm. Something. I don't know what it would be, but it.
Well, I have many high school friends that would be glad to tell you what my bedroom looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I had Van Halen posters all
Sure.
over. You know, it was all Van Halen. Saw him in '85 with several of my good friends, and
Nice.
we filled a tub of beer and rented a motel room and went to a show.
Nice.
Yeah.
I saw them in '95 on the Balance tour. That was my first time seeing them with Shep. And then the second time I saw them was with David. No, it was still with Sammy. It was when all of us from Z went down and Shinedown opened up that show, and they were nobodies at the time. But yeah, that was in Omaha. And then I saw them again in Omaha with David Lee Roth for the first time. And I also saw them in Minneapolis with David Lee Roth. So I've seen them like 4 times. Every time amazing.
Yeah, I saw him twice,
Yeah.
I believe. Yeah, twice.
Yeah. They're great. I
Yeah.
love Van Halen.
Yeah.
All right. Number 2 for me.
Yeah.
All right. Really should have wrote these down.
Well, it's, you know, we're
Just kind of riffing.
just kind of riffing.
Okay, number 2 is going to be Billy Joel,
Oh.
Scenes from an Italian Restaurant.
Oh.
One of my all-time favorite songs. I don't know what it is about it that I just, the storytelling maybe, the pace of it, which goes from like this like song you'd expect to hear in an Italian restaurant at the beginning, you know, into this rocker, and back into this song you'd hear at an Italian restaurant again at the end. I guess it's I don't know. I love that song. It's
Yeah.
always been one of my favorites. Got to see Billy play in 2000, and that was just a hell of an experience. So yeah, that one's always been a special one for me.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a good one. When will you be turning the heat on here in the monkey cage? It's kind of cold.
Yeah, I should do that.
No, I'm okay. My brain isn't froze.
That's why I provided the blanket.
Well, I appreciate this
Yeah.
blanket. This
See,
is
there's
really
a
nice.
We each got blankets.
Got planets on it.
Yep.
So everyone knows it's got planets on it.
That was from my my honorary daughter. She gave that to me as a present a long time ago.
Oh, well, that's very good.
Yeah.
That's very good. So my number 2 would be Tom Sawyer by Rush.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love Rush.
Yeah.
That song is amazing, and it's one of the greatest songs of all time.
Yeah. Well, I was a drummer, so
Yeah. I could see where you would like that. Neil
most,
Peart.
if not all, drummers like Rush.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how can you not? You
Yeah,
had
well,
the world's
Neil-
greatest drummer in the band.
Yeah. Neil Peart was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to see.
I mean,
them.
we can argue. We can argue.
There's a couple that-
musicians
yeah.
and non-musicians, whether it's John Bonham or Neil Peart, or
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, that's
I think
just
you
where
need
it's
to
at.
throw in the Who's drummer too.
Yeah, Keith Moon.
Keith Moon. Yeah, they all were kind of amazing drummers.
Mitch Mitchell. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, there's a good conversation to be had about the best drummers of all time.
Well, and we'll probably do that.
I'm sure we will at one
Yeah.
point or another.
I know that you have vast resources on the topic.
I do. I have a lot to choose from.
Yeah.
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 All right, where are we at?
You're at number 1.
I'm at number 1.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm gonna say this song just because it wasn't originally like one of my all-time favorite songs, but it grew into it mainly because of my son. It's Benny and the Jets.
Oh, Benny and the Jets. Yeah.
He hates that song
Oh.
because it's got his name in it. And
Yeah.
But I just absolutely love that song, and I always think of him when I hear it. And it's just that's
very
that's
good.
number 1.
Okay, my number 1 is easily Kansas, Carry On Wayward Son.
Great tune.
Yeah.
Easily one of their best.
Mm-hmm.
Although they have a pretty good catalog.
They do have a good catalog. Yeah, it's a song that I just remember hearing the first time, and there's amazing drums. There's great guitar. Steve Walsh's singing in that song is amazing.
Yeah.
Lyrically, the song means a lot to me. It's one of the songs that'll be played after my passing.
Yep.
Lyrically, it's just I just get a lot out of it. It lifts me up. It it energizes me with the music. Yeah, it's just an all around great song.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now you, like most people, you have not asked. Most people go, "Oh, there's not a Journey song in your top 5."
Yeah, that is weird, knowing that how big of a Journey fan you are.
I am a big Journey fan, and there would probably only be one Journey song in the top 10 or 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And this guy this was the guy that really made me pay more attention to Journey. I mean, I liked Journey, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Don't Stop Believin' was probably one of the greatest pop songs ever written.
Which it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
For those that don't know.
Yeah.
It is the number one most popular song of all time.
It is. I don't remember how many billions of
it achieved
plays.
It achieved that, I believe, in 2023.
I think so.
The most listened to song of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't go wrong with that. But then you open my eyes to songs that weren't as big of hits, but were seriously amazing songs, like Only the Lonely or
Line of Fire.
Line of Fire is a great song.
Mother Father was never a radio hit. It's a great song.
Yeah. I mean, I am a huge fan of Stone in Love, Feeling That Way Anytime. I mean, I could go on and on and on.
Yeah, I think the Journey song I would put in the top 15 for me anyway would be Any Way You Want It.
Yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah.
Plus, you gotta always think of Rodney Dangerfield, cranking that on the golf course for Caddyshack.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great song.
Yeah.
All right, so we got our top 5s, right? Did you do your number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did. So so there we go. See, sometimes it's not so good to smoke pot before a
then you shouldn't do that with your back.
That's okay. I think we'll be fine. I think I'll survive.
Yeah.
So we did that. Let's talk. What we were going to do some statistics.
Statistics. Okay. Well, what is your number one favorite genre of music?
Oh, easily. It's a big umbrella, but rock. I mean, and when I say rock, I include everything from punk rock to grunge to hair metal to pop rock to every single thing that I consider rock.
Okay.
Is in that.
Okay. So we know with music trends, which oddly, again, I spend time looking at this stuff all the time, like every month. I look up statistics that most people just don't care about. But in the genre battle, it's, rock is essentially right now number 3. But
number 3.
number 3. But you see these statistics every month. They're accumulated by, of course, Billboard and
right,
and R&R, Radio and Records.
Yep.
A lot of statistical companies, that are aligned with Spotify or TikTok or whatever it might be, but they go back and forth, monthly, and generally the back and forth is between rock and pop.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
44% of the American listening audience listens to pop music.
Okay, yeah, that does make sense to me. I mean, I worked for a top 40 radio station for quite a few years, and I mean, we did have a huge cross section of listeners, so everybody kind of like listened to pop, at least a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah. And then there's also a battle that goes on between 2 and 3. All first, second, and third types of genres
Sure.
are always kind of floating. But the percentage is very close in that, because pop listeners are at about 19%, R&B and hip hop at about 22%, and so much of that overlaps
Yeah.
because R&B artists are in pop music. Of
Yes.
course, hip hop artists,
Yep.
are on the pop charts. So
There's honestly a lot of crossover on all of the charts anymore. Like, you see Beyonce making a country album. You see...
Beyonce, recorded an album that
won the country Grammy.
that won the country Grammy, but in my opinion is not really a country album. But that's a different podcast.
Yes.
The one where we talk about Beyonce in 2029.
I saw Beyonce,
I'm sure you did.
twice.
Well, I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with Beyonce. I'm not bashing.
Although I didn't see her by herself. I saw her with Destiny's Child.
Which is great. So
Yeah.
no, I'm not bashing Beyonce. She's everything that's wonderful. So then 10%, that might be surprising. 10% of American listeners listen to country music.
10%.
10%.
It's only 10%?
Well, I think again you have some crossover there.
Yeah.
Into pop stuff.
You also gotta wonder if like by region, like where you're at in the country, because here country music rules.
Well,
as much as a genre rules. I mean, they have, you and I both know this from having ratings all the time. Country is pretty much always number one here around here.
Well, when you're in radio, a lot
Yeah.
of people don't know this, but we spent a lot of time studying demographics.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the country music it worked here in Siouxland. It still does to this day.
It does, but
they are very
you
high
can
up on the list.
You can look at one of the things that we'll talk about with our guest Jason here. Will be demographics like that.
Yeah.
We know when it comes to concerts that over the last 2 years, and it's looking that way this year, that we're getting passed up by a lot of genres of music here in the Midwest.
We're getting passed up by pretty much all the genres of music,
Yeah.
except for tribute bands. We can get some tribute bands.
Yeah,
but that's about it.
We can get some tribute bands, a local establishment.
We can't even get local bands to play here.
A local establishment that we thought was going to be everything has really gone down the tank.
Oh,
but,
God.
But
That's another day,
we won't,
another topic.
Yeah, we won't talk about that. Cause,
That's and it's not just them either. There's just nothing anywhere.
No, there's nothing.
I would say there's one venue without naming names that is still keeping live music around.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it really is. But
Yeah.
So you take and you compare, this non-Midwest concert vibe. So I'll just mention some artists. You may not know them. There's an R&B star named Kehlani.
Yeah, don't know who they
Okay, so Kehlani is not going to come to the Midwest because she is most listened to on the East Coast and the West Coast of the United States.
That makes sense. I mean, go where your fans are, right?
Yeah. Go where your fans are. And so obviously, I know, too, in relation to that, if I drive from Sioux City to my home state of Montana, I will be hearing different music than I was in
For sure.
in Sioux City.
Yes.
You're going to hear It's just based on really what's on the radio.
Yeah.
How many stations do you have in your town that can play different kinds of music? But
Yep.
for instance, when I lived in Montana, came here in '99 to Iowa, a whole different world opened up to me because I wasn't being exposed to all these different kinds of music. Yeah, I mean, we had a country station 25 minutes away and a couple of pop stations there and maybe a rock station, but I wasn't exposed to a lot of music that I've heard in all the years I've been here. Same thing with exposure to concerts.
Oh yeah.
You know, they might have there's two arenas, two colleges in Missoula and in Bozeman that have arenas that host concerts. It's when I was a kid anyway, it was a couple a year.
Yeah.
It was a couple a year. You know, and one of them was our band trip because I was a band geek, and we went to one of them. But then I came out here in '99, started working radio with you.
Yep.
And we were going to shows all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
I mean, I lost count of how many concerts I went to.
Yeah.
I do still have my list of bands that I've seen.
Yeah.
And I think that's over 500 at least. So,
but you know, it's you know, we got all that exposure to different things, and so yeah, country is big here.
Yeah, they are. It is. I would say it's the number one genre here.
Yeah, it's the number one genre here. You know, pop music is at 19%, but we have to keep in mind that pop music is constantly changing. It's the next hot thing.
For sure, and
it's the next hot thing.
Yeah.
And we'll talk in a future episode about how people are discovering music, how they're really discovering pop artists, you know, via social media and stuff. But I think that's a number that grows by month.
It's not just on the radio anymore.
Yeah, it's just not on the radio anymore. But that's something that I think is changing monthly, bi-monthly, depending on
people
who's
consume it is. I mean, do you remember what we used to have to do if we wanted to hear a song? We had to listen to the radio, put a tape in the recorder, wait for the song to come on, have it on pause, you know, this whole time waiting for the song to come on, and hope to God the DJ wasn't talking over it at the time so you could get a good quality, cut of it. And then, of course, you'd make your mixtape.
Boy, you're old.
I am old as shit.
Yeah.
I can even say I remember the 8-track.
Oh boy, yeah, you are really old.
And the old what was the other one? The big reel to reel.
Oh yeah, boy, you are old.
I am really old.
Yeah. What am I, like a year older
than you? Record player.
I'm like a year older than you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, it's Latin music.
Oh, that's huge.
It is huge, but
Bad Bunny is.
It's only
huge.
It's only at 5% here. But you know, then again,
that's
this is the United States of America.
I was going to say it's the United States.
Yeah. You go down into Florida, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, you're going to have there's a Latin explosion down there. I mean, it's
for sure.
It's a thing.
Absolutely is.
EDM. That's electronic dance music.
I have a friend who loves EDM.
Yeah.
I mean, and is into like the whole rave type scene.
Yeah.
And he's not much younger than me. And so it's funny that people that are into that, they'll stay into it for their whole entire lives.
Yeah. Yeah. EDM, of course, is, it's a huge thing.
For sure.
I mean, you have all of these, very popular DJs.
I believe I've seen a couple of them.
And
I can't remember who it was that
Pack in
saw.
30,000 fans just to be up
Maybe-
there doing whatever it is they do. I don't know.
Maybe
But-
Avicii? Is that?
Yeah, he's passed on.
Has he?
Yeah.
I wonder if he... I saw Madonna
Yeah.
back in the day. It was like 2012 or something like that. And there was a DJ
Mm-hmm.
that opened up for her.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, but
But I'm sure it was somebody like
there's
that.
a long list of them that are very popular on
Yeah.
the pop charts. A Marshmallow. I mean, it's for raves. Clubs all over the country.
Yep. If you like to dance, you're into that.
Mm-hmm.
I am not a dancer. and most people wouldn't want to see me dance either.
Yeah.
It's like watching, I don't know. It's not something anybody'd want to see. Let's just put it that way.
Well, yeah, I don't want to see it. 3% of people in the U.S. listen to Christian and gospel music.
I would count myself into that one.
Believe it or not, I listen to all kinds of music.
Yeah.
And I have K-Love on my radio.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll turn it on. It isn't every day. It might be one time a month, and I listen to a few songs.
I have a certain style, of course, that I like. That
Yeah, I know. It's
it's
probably a
minor-
80s.
Yep.
It's probably 80s band.
it's the stuff that I grew up on, man.
Yeah.
It's my parents, when I really got into the music, they wanted to steer me away from the Motley Crues and the Quiet Riots and the Wasp. They didn't want any of those bands. They wanted me to pay attention to like Petra and Stryper and DeGarmo and Key and those kinds of bands. And I have an appreciation for them. Some of the Petra stuff is really good, man. Like there's some earlier Petra stuff that kind of sounds Pink Floyd-ish. Then they have this period of time where they sound kind of like they're from an 80s hair band, and then in the 90s they kind of switched it up and kind of had this modern rock type sound to them. So they evolved with the times, and yeah, I dug what they put out. Stryper, I listen to Stryper all the time. I still love Stryper. They're as metal as they get. Like you compare them to Judas Priest.
Yeah, you and I almost went to a Stryper show, and then it didn't happen. And
I so was disappointed. I
was
really
okay.
wanted to go.
But yeah, so I know who Petra and Stryper are, but my coming to Christian music was a little bit different. I was dating a girl named Tabitha.
Okay.
And she was raised in a household much like yours.
Yep.
It was a Christian household. And so, this is back in the day when you brought your girlfriend over, the bedroom door stayed open.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so
They didn't let that door shut.
they didn't let that door shut. And so I would go over to Tabitha's, and there was no TV in the bedroom that I remember, but
I had one, but that was late 90s or early 90s.
But she would be playing Amy Grant.
Okay, yeah.
Sandy Patty.
Yeah, I saw her live.
Sandy Patty. There's a couple others.
My mom loved her,
but
Sandy Patty.
That's when I really got into it. I mean,
there's some great songs. Great songs.
I was sneaking mixtapes to her.
Giving her the Motley
I
Crue.
was like, here, try this out. Don't listen to it at mom and dad's.
Don't let them hear the Poison lyrics.
Yeah, don't let them hear the Poison lyrics. Just a funny side note, we had to break up because I didn't know that there was a heater vent that went from her bedroom to her parents' bedroom. And one night I told her a dirty joke. when 5 minutes later her dad came into the room and said, "You have to leave. We don't tell those kind of jokes here."
Man, you got dumped by your dad for a joke?
Yeah, for a dirty joke.
My God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
My dad's even cooler than that.
Yeah, I just didn't go over to our house anymore. The relationship continued, but I wasn't welcome at the house anymore after that.
Oh man.
But yeah, so that's where I got turned on to Christian music, and I'm a music guy. I'm not necessarily. This is another episode, but I'm not always into the lyrics. I'm just into the music. And there's hey, Stryper was cool.
There's a lot of bands that are a Christian band that you would never have known that they were. Like, for example, Creed.
Well, Creed, yeah, and we know that Skillet, they play regular hard rock and metal tours, but they also go out on their own tours where they
POD.
POD, yeah. So I mean, there's a lot that we've been exposed to that we don't know that is that, but there's all different forms of Christian music. You have well, we can't call it deathcore if it's Christian, but
Christian core,
I guess, and there's country Christian music, and
there's everything,
and when you get to talking about gospel, I mean, there's great gospel songs.
Absolutely.
There's been great gospel singers over the years.
Yep. My dad has an amazing collection of gospel albums, and that's his thing.
Yeah.
He loves the Christian music scene, and he's got an unbelievably large amount of records.
Yeah.
Someday will be mine.
Yeah. Well, I'll come over and listen.
Yeah.
Not one of my favorite genres of music, but seasonal music.
Oh God!
Now it says here, it says here 2% of Americans listen to seasonal music. Now, what other time of the year is there music for the season?
I don't know. Are they listening to Christmas music in February?
Well, there are people that do that.
Oh God!
But because there isn't there is. Halloween time.
What about Halloween time?
Well, they play Halloween songs at Halloween. That's seasonal music, right?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Is Halloween a season?
I mean, Ghostbusters.
Is Halloween a season? Or is it a day?
It's... Technically, it's a holiday.
Okay.
But it is kind of a season as well.
Christmas is its whole thing.
Because they start decorating in a month before, or 2 months sometimes before the damn holiday.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
there's Christmas music, but there's no Thanksgiving music.
No. Well, there is one.
Oh.
The Thanksgiving song from Adam Sandler.
Oh, you're right.
Love to eat turkey.
Valentine's Day, well, I mean, that's... who doesn't like the Silk song, Knockin' Boots?
Well, there are so many Valentine's.
Do you remember that song?
I do remember that song.
Okay.
I was more of a fan of Queen Strike's I Don't Believe in Love.
I know. 2% of people listen to jazz.
That's surprisingly low.
It is surprisingly low. Now, we were talking in the first episode about my brother turning me on to all types of stuff and how he'd study everything, and he took a deep dive as well into jazz, and so I was exposed to lots of jazz music.
You and I have a friend who introduced me to jazz.
Who's that?
Chris Thomas.
Oh, Chris Thomas, yes, because he
used
trumpet
to play
player.
Trumpet.
Yeah,
and jazz was very much his thing, and I actually have a CD of his.
Yeah,
it's just him playing his trumpet and very jazz, and it's great.
My brother turned me on to Miles Davis.
Oh, Miles Davis is great.
Lots of other trumpet players, great saxophone players. Great jazz guitar players like Lee Ritenour, Pat Metheny, Ellen Holdsworth, great stuff like that. Pat Metheny I really gravitated towards.
Yeah, I remember you talking about him.
Yeah, because Tim had some albums, and I got a couple, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to buy them all up. So I was going to this awesome music store in Missoula all the time, almost every paycheck buying a Pat Metheny CD or
I
album.
miss doing that, going and buying
Yeah.
albums.
Yeah.
Like, I miss that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was a big deal in Missoula because you go to Rock and Rudy's. It's still there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
nice.
still there. But yeah, just a huge.
You don't have a lot of music stores anymore.
No, those are, yeah.
Yeah. They were my
They're coming
favorite
back,
stores.
but-
How great were they, though?
They're coming back.
They should.
Okay, 2% of people listen to classical music.
Okay.
Of course, I'm a band geek.
Yeah,
Who doesn't love Beethoven and Mozart?
Right. I was a piano player when I was a kid. Didn't know if you knew that.
No.
I was able to get as good as to be able to play band like Van Halen and God, I played Cheers theme song.
Oh boy, there's a hard one to learn, buddy.
I know it's not everything I do for you. I used to play that. I don't know. I
Oh, Bryan Adams.
yeah, Bryan Adams.
Can you sing too? Because maybe you could do that on an episode. That's one of my favorite songs.
Maybe I might
Okay.
be able to do that.
Probably. Not.
I don't think anybody'd like it, but I might be able to do that. And I also learned how to play saxophone back in the day. So, going back to the jazz, those jazz saxophone is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I obviously, we played at music festivals and stuff in the
Cool.
high school band, so I love it. Now this one is really surprising, and it's the last category we're going to talk about, but children's music.
Children's music.
Only 1%.
Really?
Yeah.
So wait, let me get this straight. And I got to remember the name of the song.
Baby Shark.
Baby Shark. Yes, that's
Is it-
the one.
Yeah.
That is only a 2%?
1%.
1%?
1% of
Wow.
American children listen to children's music. Now I know that has to be low because
Yeah.
I go over from time to time to hang out with Katie and or Brandon, and there's always kids stuff on the TV. And of course, another friend of ours, Kelly Davis, she's got like 18 boys.
Yep.
And she's always driving in the family van, and I wouldn't say it's always kids' music because she's a crazy lady. But yeah, it's her and the boys singing along to sometimes children's music.
Sure.
I just think that's a low percentage.
It does seem low.
Yeah, rock, pop, country, all of those are I think are just really hard to drive a nail into because they're constantly flowing. We have so much crossover between rock, pop, and all that I don't think it's gonna be statistically steady at all anymore. I think it's going to be an ebb and flow thing.
I think so as well.
Yeah. So, we'll turn you on to some of that stuff. We just want to help the staff.
Some of the songs like are exactly that, like the mix of two different genres completely, and it somehow works.
Well,
like Falling in Reverse, they have a song that's got like I think every single genre of music that you can think of, except for maybe like opera and classical.
Well, are you familiar with the Hardy song?
The Hardy song. Which one?
Do you know who Hardy is?
Yeah, I do.
How do you know who Hardy is?
Because I play him on MonkeyBoy Radio.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, he's on the charts.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah. I know he's a country-ish guy too, which he's not one of my favorite rock artists, but there are like a couple songs I like from him.
He's rock?
Yeah.
Hardy's rock?
Yeah.
Truck Bed.
I don't know that song.
You've never heard Truck Bed?
No.
Oh, well, you should check it out. But
Okay.
I think it has a lot of hard rock. Well, it's a hard song. I don't call it country at all, but
I don't call what on the rocks charts country at all either. It has a tinge of something.
Yeah, I think there might be a little bit of drop D in that Hardy song.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
He's an interesting artist. He's definitely different. You can't really call him country.
No.
You can't really call him
rock
but
you
either.
can look at like Teddy Swims.
Yeah.
Okay, he's an R&B guy, but he's also a pop guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have people out there like Post Malone that
he's
really,
doing everything.
Yeah, he's
he's got
everything.
a country album. He's got rap.
I think that's where the money is.
Oh yeah, if you can hit them all, yeah,
if
why
you
not?
Hit them all. I mean, the intention of Taylor Swift was never for Taylor Swift, never ever, and I'll argue with anyone about this. There was never any intention for Taylor Swift to be a country artist.
No, God no. She just started there.
She started at what, 12, 14?
I think something like that.
So she was a beautiful little blonde girl with curly hair.
Yep.
And they said, well, we can't just...
They were selling the wholesome vibe with her.
They were selling the wholesome vibe with her.
Yeah.
And they did country music with her, but the intention all along was for her to be a pop star.
For sure. And she eventually... I remember when she switched, too. I remember that switch.
Mm-hmm.
And her going... Was it the Red album? Was that the one?
Might have been.
I don't remember. I'm not a huge Taylor Swift person, but I do remember, the seismic shift in music as far as pop radio is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And
because
when she entered in.
Yeah, they did the switch and it was immediately successful.
It was immediate.
That was, and again, a future episode.
Yeah.
That was intended.
Oh, for sure.
And we'll get into how someone is discovered and where they plan to take them.
Yep. She was kind of like I think she was like what LeAnn Rimes they wanted to do, but never really accomplished. They got it done with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
That's, I think, because they both had the same type of career path as far as music.
Country, and then you had the One-Way Ticket was a LeAnn Rimes song, and then she did Can't Find the Moonlight or whatever it was.
Yep.
There was an intention, yes, to take her pop.
Yep.
But yeah, so there's things that happen in music that are completely planned out.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Completely planned out.
Absolutely.
So,
well, we are getting close to an hour here. Is there any more stats that you had that you wanted to go over?
I'm statistically out of stats.
All right.
Statistically out of stats.
I am too.
We don't know what we're going to talk about next time.
Yeah, we really don't.
But we want you to come back.
Yeah.
Because we promise it's going to be educational and entertaining, and the best part is Andy's going to laugh because I never know what I'm going to say.
That's true.
Yeah.
I always get a laugh out of Ziggy. That is a guarantee.
It's the Music Matters Podcast with MonkeyBoy Ziggy.
All right, thanks, Ziggy.